Hey everyone, Piano Man Chuck here, and I am back again today with the StudioLogic SL88 Grand Piano Controller. And this is one heck of a controller. Now the first time that I did a video on this, which was my initial impressions and everything, I only had it a few hours, and it was pretty good, but right out of the box, the first thing you got to do is go into the velocity settings. It comes with an editor that you can use on your PC so that you can make the adjustments between the PC and here. Set up a velocity setting that's comfortable to you, otherwise you're going to be disappointed. Once you get that done, this is one heck of a controller. And I have been having a lot of fun with this controller, and it has become to the point where I'm almost at the end of my review period with this, so I'm going to miss it when I have to send it back. So this review unit has been a lot of fun for me, and I got to tell you, the FTAR action that's on here, which is the TP40 wood action, the wood keys and all that kind of stuff, it's pretty phenomenal, and I really am liking it a lot. And you know, a few years ago I wasn't so cool with FTAR actions, but they've come a long way, and what they've done with this TP40 wood, that is highly commendable. So great job to FTAR on that TP40 wood and putting it into this StudioLogic SL88 Grand. It's great. Now, like I said in the first video, that if you're a pianist, strictly a pianist, and you're looking for real piano action, just like on an acoustic concert grand, go with something like the Kawai VPC1 or the Kawai MP11 or the Yamaha Avant Grand. Those are really, really close to true piano actions. Of course, you're going to pay a price for that. Now, the Kawai VPC1 alone is around $2,000, and all it is a piano controller. There's no pitch bend or modulation wheel or any other thing. It's just strictly a piano controller, and it does a great job at it. So if you are just a pianist and you don't want to do anything else, that's the way to go. But if you want a controller that feels really good with playing piano, but you also want to play other instruments with as well, organ and sax and violin and all these other things, this is the way to go. And the unbelievable thing about this is the price. $899 US dollars. Man, you cannot beat that. And some of the other things here, which I've taken advantage of when I put this together, you'll notice that as far as MIDI goes, I mean, this is a MIDI controller, so as far as MIDI goes, I've got MIDI over USB. This is hooked up to my computer, so I can control things like Piano Tech or Synthogy or whatever it is that I'm using on the computer. And I can also use the program that came with this, which is the editor. So rather than using this screen here and these buttons, I've got a full screen of editing. And I was going to do a separate video on that alone, but you know what? Chris Martirano of American Music and Sound has done such a phenomenal job of what I was going to put a video together for me alone to show you. I thought, why reinvent the wheel? I'm going to put the link in the description and you can watch for yourself. Kudos to Chris. He did a phenomenal job with that. Now, going a little further into this, the USB or the MIDI over USB, you can use the editor that comes with this to change all kinds of parameters and set up your zones. You got 4 zones. You got all kinds of stuff that you can use with this. But the downside that I found with this, if you're going to use something like Piano Tech or some other virtual piano or anything else that you're going to be controlling on your computer, the editor will not work because it'll come back and say, already in use by another program. Okay, so you can't do that. Unlike the 5-pin DIN legacy MIDI, which it has MIDI 1 out and MIDI 2 out, which is great. Let me get more into that in a minute. But when you're using the 5-pin DIN legacy MIDI cables, one cable can go to another MIDI device, and from there you can daisy chain up to 15 more devices for a total of 16. So from this keyboard alone, with one MIDI cable and up to 16 devices, which are daisy chained, and you tell it which MIDI channel for each one. Channel 1 might be for this device, channel 2 might be for another device, and so on and so forth. All right, so I got control over 16 different devices, or maybe I've got just one device and I've got 16 different voices that I want to use. I can do that, all right? But it also has 2 MIDI outputs instead of 1. So it's got out 1, out 2. So the same holds true for MIDI out 2. So now all of a sudden I can control not only 16 devices through MIDI 1 out, but I can control up to 16 more devices with MIDI 2 out. And since I have MIDI over USB hooking up to the computer, I can theoretically control 16 more virtual devices that are running on my computer. So I've got control technically over 48 different devices. And the way this is set up, I've got 4 different zones that I can use at any different time that I want. So anytime I've chosen a particular zone within a setting that I've set for 4 different zones, like violin on one device and bass on another and piano on a third and something else on a fourth, I can easily switch to a second set of 4 zones and so on and so forth to control 4 different sounds or devices or whatever. So you get the idea. So with 48 different possibilities, 16 for MIDI 1 out, 16 for MIDI 2 out, 16 for USB to my computer, I've got a lot of control here. So this is really, really cool. And the keyboard action, it's really pretty excellent. For $899, I'm still blown away with that price. It's just, you can't beat it, especially when you're using wood. Now, it's not the same kind of wooden key sticks that you're going to get with a Yamaha Avant Grand or with the Kawai MP11 or the VPC1, but it does come pretty close to what an acoustic piano would feel like. So this really, especially at $899 US, it's a real steal. I would highly recommend this. And the other thing which really blows me away, something with that good of a feel with aftertouch and everything, aftertouch. I mean, you don't get that on controllers. I mean, this has that aftertouch. So that's another added extra bonus with this. So right here, right now, and I could have used 1 MIDI cable, but I'm using 2. I'm taking one of my cables and I'm feeding that to a Korg Kronos, and I'm taking the other one and I'm feeding that to a Kawai MP11. And right now, I'm controlling both of them at the same time with this keyboard. Okay, so let's see what it would be like without. Right now, this is just a Korg Kronos. right, now let's go over and turn that off and just use the Kawai MP11. Let's turn them both on. Pretty cool what you can do with this. Now, as far as physical stuff, this is a metal case like I mentioned in my original video. Pretty solid, so you can take this to gigs, you can transport this, you don't have to worry about it because it is metal. Now the sides are plastic, I'm not sure why they did that, but they are plastic. But most of what's going to happen to a keyboard, if you bump it into something, is going to happen on the main thing over here. Alright? It is wood, it's not solid wood, but there is wood here. So the combination of metal casing, wooden keys, that is going to contribute to the weight of this. So the overall weight, and this is the only downside I could find with this keyboard, is 46 pounds. Technically 45.85, but 46 pounds. That is quite a bit of weight, and it's just a controller, so you're going to be bringing other equipment with you, whether it's other devices or a computer or a laptop or whatever, because all of this is a controller, and it's a darn good one too. So in conclusion, this is definitely a double thumbs up with me. It is highly recommended. Some people, they have a problem with the amount of noise that this thing produces on the keyboard level. So if I were to turn off the instruments and just play the keyboard, yes, it is a little loud. But if you took an acoustic piano and somehow you could turn off the strings and just play the keypad, yeah, it's going to be loud too. You just don't realize it because you can't turn it off. It's always being played no matter what keys you're playing. So, let's turn everything back on. Chord Kronos, Kawai MP11, both at the same time. So, in conclusion, highly recommended. Again, like I said, double thumbs up, and I'm going to be sorry to have to give this back. It was a review unit. I had a lot of fun with it, and the more I played with it, the more I loved it. So, I hope this has helped you out. Piano Man Chuck, peace out. Thanks for watching.